What's going on, gamers? PKing Idiots here, and today we're going to talk about the very interesting and odd Nickmercs LGBTQ drama that has sparked about a month ago, I would say. I'm a bit late to the conversation here, but better late than never, right? So, basically what happened was there was a school that wanted to have an assembly in order to educate these children that were about, 7 years old. These are like elementary school kids, and they wanted to educate them about the LGBTQ community. Sorry, that's kind of hard to say. And there were parents outside of the schools protesting this because they didn't really feel that the school was the right source to talk to their kids about this. And not only that, but you've got a bunch of young 7-year-olds and they already have to learn about this information. And while I think it's good to get your kids ahead of the curve, and I believe a lot of parents would feel the same way, I feel like this is a lot more of a sensitive and personal subject that requires a bit more brain power than what a 7-year-old can muster in order to completely understand how it kind of works, And so that's why the parents didn't really agree with it. I mean, Nickmercs tweeted out that... Sorry, I'm getting a little distracted here trying to get these kills. Nickmercs tweeted out that they should leave the children alone, and that's the real issue. And so there was this huge backlash, and his creator skin got removed from Call of Duty, which their game is absolutely dookie, so who cares? It's the same game every year. They have no original ideas, no good content. They just need to stir up drama and show that they support communities to try and get more players, or to have people respect them more. But they're if they're going for money, then it makes sense to be on the more popular side of the coin here, which is agreeing with Nick, because let's be honest, 7-year-olds, they're just learning how to count. They're just finally starting to understand sort of how their day goes. They're, shoving circular and triangular objects into holes. They're finally starting to use their problem-solving skills, and their brain just isn't really developed enough to handle sort of more mature topics like this. But let's get a full grasp of the situation. So the parents who are protesting this were saying that their kids are too young, and to think about how the school sort of runs. They're not anti-LGBTQ. Because they have a pride flag hanging up inside of the school, and they even have a trans teacher that teaches at the school, obviously. And there haven't been any incidents of hate or disrespect towards that teacher or towards the school for having the flag up, which is great. And I think, honestly, just having that at the school, I think is enough of a step for 7-year-olds to kind of start to understand what that means and sort of get a grasp of that community. I think that's really all that they need. I personally, I would have waited until they're in middle school, 8th grade, to talk about that. Because I remember when I was in 8th grade, that's when we had the sort of sex ed discussion, and it just makes more sense there. I still didn't really understand everything that was going on. I thought it was kind of funny. Every kid does when you see your teacher projecting a schlong on the screen. It's funny, and you do kind of understand what's going on, right? But that would have been the appropriate time to actually talk to them about it, not when they're in elementary school. And I understand what Nick and a lot of the parents are saying, with them wanting to be the ones to talk to their kids about that. But you also have to understand that there are some kids that won't have that discussion with their parents. So I think it's also important that the teachers get some information out there for the kids, and sort of educate them on the subject, especially with the way things are nowadays. You know what I mean? But these protests, anyway, they broke out into a couple of fights, and one very interesting fact is that some of the people that were the activists there didn't live there, didn't have kids that went there, didn't have any kids at all. They were just there because they believed that there was an injustice. One person in particular, Chad, he actually got into a brawl, you know, on the activist side, of course. And it turns out that he had previously been arrested for, you know, crimes against a kid who was under the age of 14, so just... I mean, if I was on the Activision Blizzard side, I would think about the people I was showing support to and sort of, you know, bust out my moral compass and decide if that's really where I want to stand, you know? Because one side's clearly in the wrong, one side's clearly in the right. And you know, Nick is a very nice guy, and he says you don't have to agree with him, and it doesn't mean he hates you, and it doesn't mean you need to hate him. It's just a very beautiful thing to say, but there's clearly one correct opinion on this, and that is they are too young to really understand what it's about. And so there's really no point in teaching them about it at this age of 7 years old. I actually remember seeing a TikTok video a couple days ago about a kid who was 7 who had become trans, and so they knew that they were trans about at the age of 3, which I don't even know how that's possible. When I was 3, I was sitting there eating some ice cream or some Danimals, you know, watching like Nickelodeon or like PBS. Wasn't really thinking about, you know, if I was a man or a woman, so I think that just goes to show you sort of how society's changed and where our kids are being pushed, which is part of the reason why I hope I don't really have kids, because shit's a little whack. A little whack-a-doodle-doo, you know? A little crazy, man. The world do be like that sometimes, you know?
What can I say, kid?
Anyway, you know, that's really all I wanted to say, you know. Nickmercs. I think a vast majority of gamers or the average person would agree with your idea of leaving the kids alone. Which is why, you know, you haven't been canceled. You shouldn't be canceled. Canceling really shouldn't be a thing. Silencing one side of, one opinion that you don't like is not the way to advance society. So, I'll see you later. Hello. Sync the audio. Hello. Sync the audio. Sync it up. Sync the audio. Sync the audio. Sync it up.